Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Oyinka, and if it's your first time stopping by, you baby are most definitely welcome. Now in today's video, I'm just going to be talking about why you keep having recurrent vaginal infections and why you keep having this itchiness or smelliness or any of that. And if that sounds like something that you'll be interested in, then you want to keep on watching. If it's your first time stopping by, hi, my name is Oyinka and you're welcome to join the family. Please do to hit that subscribe button down below and turn on your bell notification so that you would be notified every single time I post a video. Now if you don't know, I am a medical doctor, and on this channel I do vlogs, lifestyle and female health related things, and that is why this video is one of our juicy topics that we're going to be talking about. If you want to know the different types of vaginal discharge and when you have an infection or not, I'm going to leave a video linked up in the card so that you can definitely check it out. That video is going to enlighten you a little bit more about that, and then you can come and watch this video if you have any more questions as per that. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about why you keep having recurrent vaginal infections. Okay, if that sounds like something that you'll be interested in, then you definitely want to keep on watching. Now the first reason why you keep having vaginal infections is because you may be using antibiotics wrongly. Okay, in your vagina there are microorganisms, there is some bacteria, and that bacteria is there actually for a purpose. It's supposed to keep things like checks and balances. The bacteria that you have there normally are the good bacteria, while the ones that cause infections are the bad ones. Oh, the sun is going down, so I'm sorry if my light is fluctuating a little bit, but I just wanted to record this video before I lose daylight. But yeah, like I was saying, if you're using a lot of antibiotics, then you are going to wipe out both the good and the bad bacteria, and that will be problematic for you. The reason is because these antibiotics cannot differentiate between which bacteria is good or which bacteria is bad. So at the end of the day, they will wipe out all the bacteria in your vagina. By the time they do that, they now give room for bad bacteria to come proliferate and cause an infection. And it's just think about it this way: if you're using antibiotics wrongly and you're not using it for a specific purpose, the antibiotics are just going to wipe out everything that is there. And if the house is empty, obviously somebody is gonna come and stay there, and that is when the bad bacteria come in and leave and cause an infection. Do you understand? So if you keep having recurrent vaginal infection, you definitely should check your antibiotic use. You're probably overdoing the antibiotics use, or you're not using it as when indicated. I would definitely suggest that you don't use antibiotics indiscriminately, because that can cause a bit of a problem for you. Next point I'm going to be talking about, and it's also pretty common as well, is if you are immunocompromised. Now what do I mean? Everybody has soldiers in their body that fight for them and help to fight bacteria as much as possible, which is why you don't fall sick every time. Even when you do some things or you eat some foods that you shouldn't have eaten, you don't fall sick, because everybody has these soldiers. You only fall sick when the soldiers become overwhelmed. I'm literally simplifying this so much so that everybody is carried along. Okay, so immunocompromised people are people whose soldiers have problems, and so they can't really fight for them. Example of people whose soldiers have problems are people with diabetes or people with HIV or stuff like that. Any chronic infection like cancer, stuff like that, those people's soldiers are not optimal, so they can't fight for them. That kind of situation, when an opportunistic organism or bacteria comes into the vagina, your soldiers can't fight, and that is when you start coming down with recurrent vaginal infections, because the soldiers that are supposed to fight for you are unavailable to do that. Do you understand what I mean? So that is another really common reason why people come down with recurrent vaginal infection. Next point I'm going to be talking about is douching. And I know that I keep saying this all the time, that the vagina is a self-cleaning structure and you really don't need to stick anything up in there. I think I'm going to make a totally different video teaching you guys how to properly wash your vagina. Okay, let me even just say this. First of all, I think that many people don't know what the vagina is, and people just refer to the female genitalia as the vagina very loosely. But I'm just gonna put a little picture or an illustration on the screen so that you can see. But the vagina literally consists of the mons pubis, which is that fatty area in front, right? And then before you go underneath to find the rest of the structures. So underneath, then you start to have the labia majora, which are like the big lips of the vagina. Then you have the labia minora, which are the smaller lips of the vagina. Do you understand? Are you following me? If you part the labia minora, there is an opening. In that opening is the vagina, right? So when I talk about the vagina, that is what I'm talking about, the inside, not the outside. The outside and all those structures, the labia majora, labia minora, clitoris, all of that, usually refer to that as your vulva. When I say don't wash your vagina, I don't mean don't wash your vulva, because the vulva has lots of hair follicles, sweat glands, all of that, so it can tend to get smelly very quickly if you don't wash it properly. So you can use mild unscented soap to wash the vulva. But if we're talking about the vagina, that means I'm talking about the whole thing inside, right? You don't want to do anything with that, because that produces discharge that cleans the vagina from inside out, and so it doesn't need your help to clean it. Again, if you stick things up in there to wash the inside, douching like they would call it, you would end up messing with the good bacteria that are inside the vagina, and that would then cause you to come down with an infection. Because remember the story that we gave before, the good bacteria are there to protect you. So if you end up washing all the good bacteria away, then the bad bacteria will come, and then they won't meet any resistance, so they'll just have a field day, a party. Do you know what I mean? They will just be dancing everywhere because you have given them the greatest opportunity that they could have ever asked for. Next thing that I'm going to be talking about is wiping from back to front. Now the back is where the anus is, and that is a very dirty environment, right? Because it contains a lot of microorganisms from the gut, and those microorganisms are dirty, right? And the vagina, on the other hand, is a clean environment. So when you use the bathroom and you want to wipe, you should wipe from clean to unclean, which is from front to back, definitely not from back to front, because if you do that, then you're going to transfer those dirty microbes from the anus into the vagina, and that will cause an infection. But if you clean from front to back, you're cleaning from the good area, the clean area, to the dirty area, and that's fine. Do you understand? But if you clean it the other way around, then you are more likely to come down with an infection, because you've moved organisms that are in the anus into the vagina, and that will cause a problem. This leads me straight to my next point, which is double dipping. I'm not going to be too explicit on this, but I just want you to use your imagination, right? If you are older than the legal age and you engage in anal practices, you want to avoid double dipping, okay? Because again, it still follows that same reasoning of transferring microorganisms from the back department to the front department. You really want to avoid doing that, because again, if you double dip, you're literally moving the microorganisms from the back department to the front department. So you really want to avoid doing that, because that will put you at risk of developing a recurrent vaginal infection. You understand? Now, I know I've spoken about this a lot of times, and that is the importance of wearing cotton or absorbent underwear. You definitely want to wear cotton underwear, because remember, like we said, the vagina produces discharge, and that can make the area get moist very quickly. Moisture is a breeding ground for bacteria, okay? So what you want to do is you want to wear absorbent underwear that would soak up all that moisture, so that it keeps the area relatively dry and reduces the risk of microorganisms forming and growing in there. Do you understand what I mean? The important thing is to wear cotton underwear, so at the end of the day, while your vagina has done her business, you can collect all the discharge in an absorbent material and you would be good, as opposed to wearing all this nylon underwear. They're not absorbent, so the moisture will literally just be there, sitting there, and that is a perfect breeding ground for bacteria. This also leads me to my next point, which is the fact that you should always change your sanitary pads when you're on your period, and you should change it regularly, because the sanitary pads, again, remember what we said about moisture being a perfect breeding ground for bacteria. Blood is even the worst. I'm telling you, blood is, if there's anything more than perfect, blood is that. Blood is literally more perfect than anything else in terms of breeding ground for organism. So you want to try to minimize the opportunity that you give the blood to do its bit by changing that sanitary pad frequently. Okay, so you want to change your sanitary pads every 8 hours thereabout, so that the blood doesn't become an environment for microorganisms to grow and to cause you to have an infection. Last but not the least, if you are part of the people who use toys, I'm here to tell you that toys can cause you to have recurrent infections, particularly if you don't clean them properly. So you definitely want to make sure that you're cleaning your toys properly with the appropriate cleaning agents, and that you store them properly so that microorganisms don't creep up on them and cause you to have an infection. Okay, so if you use toys, please make sure to clean your toys properly and to store them properly, because toys can cause you to have infections. Okay, great. So that is all I'm going to be sharing in this video. Thank you so much for watching my video. I really do hope you enjoyed the video and you learned a thing or two. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section and I'll be sure to answer them as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll definitely catch you guys in my next video. Bye guys.